Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my channel? Thank you so much. In my past life, I gave up $1 million annual salary for love and was willing to be a housewife. I ended up being cheated on, scolded, and beaten by my in-laws. I even had to raise my scumbag husband's illegitimate child. Because I put a single chili pepper in the dish, the illegitimate child had an allergic reaction. I was divorced in the end. I couldn't bear it and slit my wrists to commit suicide. After being reborn, when the scumbag brought the illegitimate child back, I gladly accepted it and treated the child as my own. After all, only a child who grows up being overly spoiled can become the sword for my revenge. The scumbag went to a hotel for a tryst at midnight and had a passionate night. Little did he know that I was right next door. "Sophia, would you please sit on top by yourself?" The one who said this was my husband, Liam. 2 buttons on his shirt were missing, and he smelled of cigarettes, alcohol, and a woman's perfume. I slapped him hard across the face. That desire of Liam's, which only emerged once a month, was slapped away. He was stunned and was restraining his anger. "What's wrong? Isn't it your ovulation period?" My heartbeat gradually calmed down, and I realized that I wasn't dreaming. I thought I was dreaming. "Never mind, you have a good rest." Liam lost his interest and got up directly, walking towards the bathroom and slamming the door with great force, showing his dissatisfaction. "Do it or not, whatever." Of course, I didn't say this out loud, but I looked at the clothes scattered all over the floor and then looked back at myself in the glass mirror. There was no blood, no scars. I tapped on my phone and checked the time. It was March 1st, 2024. It was 1 month before my suicide countdown. I was reborn in my past life. My marriage had always seemed wonderful in the eyes of outsiders. I had a perfect husband, and I naively thought so too until I followed Liam to a high-end residential area and uncovered the dirtiest side of this 5-year marriage. I was a complete idiot. It was tonight. Sure enough, the man in the bathroom rushed out in a hurry. "Honey, Michael from the company told me there was a problem with the bidding data. You have a rest first. Don't wait for me." He always kissed me before going out as usual, but when I thought that this mouth had kissed another woman's upper lip or maybe the lower one, my stomach churned, and I hurriedly turned my head away. He gave me an awkward smile. "What's wrong, honey?" I clenched the bed sheet tightly and tried to force a shallow smile to make myself look less reluctant. I hadn't brushed my teeth yet, but he still pressed his lips gently on my forehead for a quick kiss. "I don't mind. Have an early rest. I love you." This "I love you" became my edict. After he left, I vomited until tears and snot were flowing together, and I didn't stop until I couldn't vomit anything anymore. Then I propped myself up against the sink and raised my head. Disgusting, so disgusting. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked in the mirror and felt as if I had been through a lifetime, although I had been serving my in-laws at home since getting married. I never neglected my skincare and body maintenance, so my figure hadn't changed. At my age, there wasn't a single wrinkle at the corners of my eyes. It's just that these dull eyes and a mouth that couldn't say flirtatious words were indeed not as charming as those outside. I knew who Liam was going to meet. In the past, I would definitely have checked his phone before letting him go. But this time my answer was straightforward. "Okay, drive carefully, don't rush. He'll bring it back, and all I need to do is wait and wait some more." After Liam left, the first thing I did was call my best friend Emma. "I want to divorce Liam," I said. Emma immediately pushed away the young and cute guy beside her. "Damn it, are you possessed by a ghost?" It's no wonder Emma was surprised because I had always been a love-struck fool before getting married. Because Liam said he liked a virtuous wife and a good mother, I gave up my job as the chief editor of a magazine with $1 million annual salary to become a housewife, cooking for the family. After getting married, in order to let him work without distractions, I offered to take his parents into our home and take good care of them. God gave me a brain, but unfortunately it was a love-struck brain. I ignored my best friend's teasing. "I want to go back to Queen magazine," I said. Emma threw off the quilt. "Damn it, you're also a career-driven ghost. Good for you, good for you. So why? Why do you want to divorce?" To let Emma have a good sleep and also to let Liam have a pleasant night with his mistress, I made an appointment with her to meet at a coffee shop tomorrow. After hanging up the phone, a message popped up on WeChat at the top of the screen. "Husband, honey, I'm working overtime with Michael. I'll bring you breakfast from the west side of the city tomorrow morning. I love you. There was a picture attached, which was a picture of Michael making a victory sign. This Michael was a mutual friend of theirs in college. Now it seems that he's just Liam's friend. I replied with 2 emotionless words. Love you. Then I turned on Do Not Disturb mode, clicked on the settings, changed the password lock of my phone, and deleted his facial recognition. Love you. I just want to have a good sleep. Before I got married, I was the chief editor of Queen magazine. After resigning for love, I let my sworn enemy take the opportunity to rise to power easily. Our equal status suddenly changed to that of a boss and an employee. My sworn enemy came to the interview in person just to mock me. As soon as she sat down, she started criticizing me from my hair to my toes. She almost bluntly said that sentence. Sophia, you'd better go back to being a housewife. According to my previous temper, I would have flipped the table and left, but at this moment, I just maintained a polite smile and started the read in random reply mode. May I ask if there are any problems with? My resume was impeccable, but she still gave me a difficult task. To get President Ethan of the Ethan Group in East City to agree to an exclusive interview within a week. The time was tight and the task was heavy. After leaving the magazine office, I came to the coffee shop downstairs. Emma was already waiting there. Before my but even touched the chair, I said, "He's cheating on me." Emma spat out the coffee in her mouth. Sorry. Damn it, that bastard. I'm going to kill him. Don't rush. You can spare his dog life for now. I calmly wiped the coffee stains off my face. I will divorce him, but not now. Divorce is too mild. This isn't the cruelest. I will make him lose all his face and leave him with nothing. Emma immediately dropped her usual playful manner as my best friend and switched to her lawyer mode to analyze the current situation for me. If I want him to leave the house with nothing, I have to catch the most direct evidence of his affair. Direct evidence, Emma reminded me. Like text messages on his phone, pictures of him being caught in the act of cheating, and the existence of his illegitimate child. Just as she finished speaking, a new message popped up on my phone from that scumbag. Honey, where have you been? I have something to tell you. At that very moment, a little red dot appeared on my WeChat moments. It was a post from my mother-in-law. It was a 15-second video. The background of the video was the coffee table at home, and the main character in the video was a child. I was no stranger to this child, but when I saw the scene that overlapped with what had happened in my past life, I was extremely angry inside. They still had the nerve to bring the illegitimate child back to the wedding house that Liam and I shared like this. This child was exactly Liam's illegitimate child. He was fair and delicate with a look that everyone would like, but actually he was a brat. I downed the glass of boiled water filled with ice cubes in one gulp to dispel the anger in my heart. The video was still playing on my phone, repeating, I don't know how many times. Isn't this a coincidence? The direct evidence has come to me on its own. I stood at the entrance like a transparent person. The coffee table was piled with toys, and the illegitimate child was playing with a remote-controlled airplane. My in-laws were chasing after him, looking exactly like the eunuchs and maids in ancient times accompanying the imperial prince while playing. Ouch, my little ancestor. Run slower. Ouch, my dear baby. The airplane flew straight towards my face with a clear and precise target. If I ignored the naughty smile on the brat's face, I might believe that he didn't do it on purpose. I could have blocked it, but I didn't. The airplane hit my eye directly. I was the one who got hit, but it was the brat who started crying. Liam came out of the study and saw his wife covering her eyes. The airplane on the ground immediately made him understand what had happened. I shielded the child behind me and started scolding him. Sophia, is it really necessary? It's just an airplane hitting your eye. Is it that painful? You screamed so loudly that you scared the child to tears. The child didn't do it on purpose. Mom, what are you talking about? Liam didn't know how to bring up the matter of the child in the first place, and now this happened right after I came back. Honey, are you okay? I rubbed my eyes and said gently, I'm okay. Don't scare the little kid. My understanding made Liam feel even more guilty, and my mother-in-law was constantly giving him hints with her eyes. The words that Liam wanted to confess took a detour on his lips. Honey, this is a child from a distant relative of mine, my mother-in-law snapped. Liam gritted his teeth and continued. The relative has some things to deal with and wants to leave the child here for a while. Is that okay? Liam was always like this. He would do things first and then discuss them with me. Was there any room for me to refuse? I pretended to think it over before giving my answer. The relative has some things to deal with and wants to leave the child here for a while. Is that okay? Liam was always like this. He would do things first and then discuss them with me. Honey, you're so nice. My mother-in-law couldn't stand it anymore and led the child to the sofa. When passing by me, I saw the child glare at me. After all, in his eyes, I was the bad person who had snatched his mother's husband using the excuse of taking a bath. I went back to my room and soaked myself in the bathtub, trying to wash away his touch on me. In this way, I scrubbed the skin that the man had touched with a bath sponge until it turned red before I stopped. In my past life, the day after I followed and exposed Liam's extramarital affair, Liam brought the child back righteously. Because I hadn't conceived a child in 5 years of marriage, I was morally blackmailed back and forth by my in-laws and husband until I finally had to accept it. But the result of my compromise was that this brat would yell that he missed his mother 7 days a week. I not only had to raise the illegitimate child but also cook for their family of 5. I was just a cheap living nanny in my past life. Now that I think about it, it's actually not bad. Probably, it was a blessing from heaven that I hadn't conceived a child in all those years. Otherwise, I would have had another burden. After I took a bath and opened the door halfway, I heard an argument coming from outside. Why didn't you tell Sophia that the child is yours? It's been 5 years since you got married, and there's been no sign of a baby in her belly. Who can we blame for this? If she can't lay an egg, there are plenty of others who can. Mom, keep your voice down. Sophia has done enough for this family. And how am I supposed to confess? I've been married to Sophia for 5 years, and this child is 6 years old. How do you expect her to accept it? Don't push me. Give me some time. My mother-in-law fell. Silent, I quietly closed the door and changed into my yoga clothes. Perhaps because of guilt, Liam insisted on taking me to the yoga studio himself, but I refused because the yoga studio I was going to was no longer the previous one. The taxi stopped in front of the yoga studio because the brat hit my eye with the remote-controlled airplane. Liam generously transferred 50,000 yuan to me to apologize. I accepted it directly and sweetly replied, "Thank you, honey. Only a fool would turn down money." But right after replying, I gulped down half a bottle of mineral water to wash my mouth. Then I waved my hand grandly and got a yearly membership card right away. While enjoying the service, I was casually scrolling through my WeChat moments. Since the brat arrived at home, my mother-in-law had already posted 8 WeChat moments as if she was afraid that others wouldn't know that this was her dear grandson. Ironically, on the day Liam and I got married, Liam's mother didn't even post a WeChat moment. Even more ironically, I had been married to Liam for 5 years, and the child was 6 years old. I curled my lips sarcastically. Suddenly, a sweet female voice came from above my head. "Hello, madam. I'm your one-on-one instructor, Olivia. Never play with a man twice." I have to admit that Liam had good taste. The woman in front of me had a slender figure, was young and beautiful, and with her ponytail, she really looked like a newly graduated college student. But I would never forget that in my past life, she stood in front of me arrogantly with the child in her arms in the posture of a victor. "You'd better just get a divorce quietly. Liam told me that he's been tired of you for a long time. He wouldn't even have a bit of desire, even if you were naked." Being stared at intently by the woman in front of her, Olivia shivered inexplicably. "Madam, are you not feeling well?" I snapped out of my memories and let out a heavy breath. "Nothing. Can we start the class now?" With her woman's intuition, Olivia felt that something was wrong with me, but she couldn't put her finger on what exactly the problem was. Olivia was quite capable in her work, but she was a bit absent-minded today. I noticed it and considerately suggested a break. Then I transformed into an understanding big sister and asked her what had happened. Olivia apologized. "I'm sorry, madam. My son was ill last night, and I've been worried about it, but my husband is taking care of him now, so it's okay." I nodded thoughtfully. "That's good. The illness was just an excuse to call Liam away. It's just that she didn't expect Liam to directly take the child away. Olivia and Liam were old flames. The child was an accident. Liam only found out this year that he had a child, And in order to have his cake and eat it too, Liam could only comfort Olivia by saying that he would confess to me, but the divorce would have to be planned for some time later. Hasn't Olivia been waiting for so many years? Can't she wait a little longer? Husband, I really wanted to slap her in the face to see how thick her skin was, but in the end, I just picked up a towel to wipe the sweat. That's nice. Your husband is quite responsible for the family. Men like that are rare. When it came to her significant other, Olivia's tone was proud. Yes, he is very responsible. I seized the opportunity and cleverly used the I have a friend routine. Responsible men won't abandon their families. However, there are exceptions. Some men just can't resist the temptation to cheat. I have a friend whose husband brought back an illegitimate child. My friend treated the child as her own, and the child had a good relationship with her. Later, the man immediately broke up with the mistress, and now their family is happily traveling in Sonia. Olivia's expression froze. This familiar plot sounded alarm bells in her mind, and a thought flashed through her head. So would Liam abandon his family for her? She started to panic. Seeing the woman's expression, I knew I had achieved my goal and picked up my bag and left. Let's call it a day. Nice to meet you. Olivia forced a smile. Nice to meet you too. I looked at the woman's ashen face. She didn't look happy at all. My signature smile disappeared the moment the car window went up, and I instantly regained my expressionless face with coldness in my eyes. Believe me, you won't be happy. When I got home, Liam was on the balcony talking on the phone. He was visibly flustered. She's back. Don't be unreasonable anymore. Leo has developed this temperament because he grew up with you. The woman on the other end of the phone was crying. Are you blaming me now? He lacks his father's education since he was a child. Besides, so what if she's back? Can't you just confess to her directly? Seeing me walking over, Liam was in a panic. When being tough didn't work, he could only try being soft. Baby, don't worry. I'll confess to her. She's crazy. I have to keep her calm. Can you please be patient and wait a little longer? I know you and Leo have been wronged. Give me some more time. The moment I pushed open the balcony door, Liam hung up the phone. I casually glanced at his phone. He hid it behind his back guiltily, still looking frightened. Back already? Honey, I'm so busy with work at the company. I pretended not to notice the man's panic. Yes, where's Leo? I bought some toys for him. Looking at the toys in my hand, guilt flashed in Liam's eyes. He's in the house. I'll go with you. Leo hadn't forgotten what his mother had told him before he came, and because Liam had scolded him in the morning, he hated me. He took a look at the toy gun and threw it on the ground. I don't want your stuff, bad woman. Liam was already annoyed, and he was directly provoked by Leo's rude attitude. He reached out, grabbed him and slapped him on the butt. How can you say such things at such a young age? The slap was quite hard, and Leo started crying immediately, still cursing. Bad woman. You are woo. I want to find my mom. I want to go home. Of course I had to pretend. Stop, Liam. But no matter how I tried to stop him, Liam didn't stop. Just then, my mother-in-law came back from buying groceries, hearing her grandson crying and that he wanted to go home. She dropped the groceries on the ground and rushed straight into the room. Why are you hitting the child? Leo threw himself into his grandmother's arms and cried bitterly. Grandma! This crying really broke the grandmother's heart. Why are you hitting the child? Did Sophia tell you to do it? Liam reached out and rubbed his temples, looking exhausted. Mom, what does this have to do with Sophia? She bought him toys, and he threw them on the ground and called Sophia a bad woman. Who else should I hit if not him? I blinked, looking innocent too. Mom, am I that bad in your heart? And why would I pick on the son of a cousin? My mother-in-law was left speechless. Leo, however, was a shrewd kid. Seeing that the situation wasn't right, he cried even louder. Seeing her precious grandson crying, the grandmother became even more unreasonable. That child is just simple-minded. What can we do if he doesn't like you? You should look for problems within yourself. After saying that, the grandmother carried Leo out of the room. Grandma will buy you something nice to eat. Liam was defeated by his mother's unreasonableness. He let out a heavy sigh and could only comfort me. I said I was fine but hoped that he wouldn't quarrel with his mother because of me. I knew that the more understanding I was, the more guilty Liam would feel towards me. And the more bad roles Liam played in this drama, the easier it would be for me to win Leo over. Remembering that he had an engagement tonight, Liam went to take a bath. In the bathroom, taking advantage of the time when he was taking a bath, I opened his phone. Liam was quite open and aboveboard and had always let me look at his phone. I opened WeChat and text messages but couldn't find any trace of his affair. Finally, I opened the contacts. The note for the call record just now was Shalu from the finance department. A woman's sixth sense told me that there was something wrong. Then I also opened my own phone and scrolled to the number I saved today. 139. The numbers on the two phones matched. No wonder I couldn't find any evidence. As the old saying goes, if you think you are loved, it must be that you forgot to check the phone. After all, he was just a kid. If one gift didn't work to win him over, 3 or 4 gifts would do the trick. He was even happy to sit with me and eat KFC, and we even took a photo together cheerfully. Having dealt with the brat, I started to focus on work matters. During this period, Olivia and I also became friends. Our topics ranged from skincare products to sexy pajama sets. The night after I recommended the new pajama styles from the brand store on the 3rd floor of Wanda Mall to her, Liam didn't get home until 3 o'clock in the morning. I was already numb and even felt a bit like laughing. It was okay if he was full outside. I didn't have to serve him when he came back home. Everything was gradually getting on track. The difficult part was the exclusive interview with Ethan. I had been making appointments but hadn't received any news. However, today I unexpectedly learned that Liam had a cooperation with Ethan. Immediately, I put on my makeup and rushed to the private room. Seeing my appearance, Liam was dumbfounded. "Honey, why are you here?" I got straight to the point. "I have something to talk to President Ethan about." Liam was baffled by my behavior. Perhaps he couldn't figure out what a housewife like me would want to talk to Ethan about. "Honey, don't make a fuss. This dinner is very important." I forgot that I hadn't told Liam yet that I was going back to work at the magazine, but at the moment I didn't want to explain it to him. I also have something important to do. I simply pushed him aside and barged into the private room. President Ethan, long time no see. The man sitting in the main seat was dressed in a suit and tie. He had lost the rebelliousness of his youth and had a bit more calmness and composure. I couldn't help but wonder if I was an idiot back then. How could I have fallen for Liam, the scumbag, after breaking up with Ethan? Oh, I was attracted to his honesty back then. As it turns out, only when a man is dead and hanging on the wall will he be honest. Ethan raised his head, his thin lips curving slightly. "Miss Sophia, long time no see." His teasing eyes lingered on Liam and me. Although he didn't say anything, based on my understanding of him, he meant, "After breaking up with me, you ended up with such a thing. Sophia, you're really going backwards in life." It was during the conversation that Liam learned that I had gone back to work at the magazine. This dinner was originally for Liam's cooperation, but unexpectedly, it facilitated my interview. During the conversation, Liam sensed that the relationship between Ethan and me was not that simple. On the way home, Liam's face turned cold. "Why didn't you tell me that you went back to work at the magazine?" I softened my tone, even sounding a bit aggrieved. "You've been so busy these past 2 days I could hardly see you. When would I have had the chance to tell you?" Liam knew he was in the wrong. He had been spending a lot of time with Olivia these past 2 days. He reached out and placed his hand on the back of my hand, giving it a gentle pat. "Sorry, but honey, I can afford to support you. You don't need to go out and show your face in public. Why don't you just quit your job?" Of course, I wouldn't quit my job. Having come this far, there was no turning back for me. But to change the topic, I took the initiative to place his hand on my silk stockings. "Let's talk about this later, okay?" I was wearing a pencil skirt as part of my business suit today. When I entered the private room earlier, Liam's eyes lit up. Liam knew his wife was beautiful, and he also knew that the workplace was full of fierce competitors. That's why he didn't want her to work with such beauty in front of him. No matter how angry he was, Liam's anger dissipated. The novelty brought by this pencil skirt made Liam so excited that he immediately took off his clothes as soon as he got home. I managed to persuade him to take a bath first, but he wanted to drag me into the bathroom. I felt sick, but on the surface I still shyly pouted. "You wash by yourself. I'm too embarrassed." Even though Liam pleaded until his lips were almost worn out, I still didn't give in. Liam was a bit disappointed, but he was used to it too. This was also the reason why Liam cheated outside, because Olivia was willing to try anything with him. As soon as I walked out of the bathroom after taking a bath, Liam hugged me without asking. Even though I asked him to stop and told him I had something to say, he simply couldn't listen. "Let's talk about it later," he said. His familiar moves, the gentle touches that used to be so pleasant, now only made me feel nauseous. I stared blankly at the ceiling, biting my lip tightly until he finally sensed that something was wrong. Liam felt as if he had been doused with a bucket of cold water from head to toe. "Honey, are you on your period?" I turned sideways and kissed his cheek. "Sorry, honey." Liam sighed and helplessly rolled over and lay flat. He was still aroused and stared at the ceiling for a while. Then his phone on the bedside table vibrated. "It's okay, honey, let's go to sleep. But I forgot to ask you today, do you know President Ethan? He's my ex-boyfriend." I didn't intend to hide it from him. I was sitting on the bedside doing my skincare. I glanced at the time. It was already 10 o'clock at night. Who else would send messages at this time except the mistress? Ex-boyfriend? Ethan is your ex-boyfriend? No wonder he accepted your exclusive interview. Liam was shocked and felt a bit jealous too. I ignored his sarcasm and focused on my skincare. He secretly opened his phone and deliberately lowered the screen brightness. Xiao from the finance department sent a multimedia message. He opened it and saw a photo of a woman wearing a lace camisole. Liam got even more aroused. I lay back on the bed and he closed his phone. Don't be silly. What could he possibly think about a married woman like me who would send messages so late? Is it something about the company? Liam thought so too. Who would be interested in a woman with a husband? But what he didn't know was that under the dinner table today, my high heels had already scuffed Ethan's suit pants. He frowned and got up to change his clothes with a pained expression. "Yes, there's something about the company. I'll go and check it out." I even thoughtfully sent him to the door and stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window on the balcony, watching the direction in which the man's car was leaving with a sarcastic smile on my lips. "Do you think I'm that stupid in your heart, using the same excuse 3 times? I closed the curtain, reached out and took a clean sanitary napkin and threw it into the trash can. I dialed a phone number. The call was answered quickly on the other end, and I sent out an invitation. "President Ethan, would you do me the honor of sleeping with me?" The man's voice was still husky and magnetic. He said, "Send me the address." The Fairma Hotel was recommended by Olivia. She said that she and her husband often came to this hotel to book a room to avoid their son. The room had become their regular haunt. I deliberately booked room 807 right next to theirs. I sat on the bed, listening to the ambiguous sounds coming from the next room. Those flirtatious words that I could never learn in my life. I clenched my palms tightly, trying to restrain my anger, and my nails had already left red marks on my palms during the 20 minutes of waiting for Ethan to arrive. I had countless impulses to turn on the camera of my mobile phone and rush to the next room, but I held back. I couldn't alert the enemy. There was a knock on the door and I opened it. Ethan's tone was calm, but there was desire in his eyes. "Miss Sophia, isn't it an interview?" I took off my coat, leaving only a thin chamisole inside, and wrapped my arms around his neck. Interview on the bed? Ethan wasn't a person with excessive desires, and he also knew what kind of person I was. At the most crucial moment he stopped. "Why did you choose me?" I knew he was a smart man, so I might as well be honest. "Because you're better than him." Only I knew that only when I found a man better than Liam would Liam feel frustrated and jealous. Ethan laughed. "You're quite honest." I took the initiative to kiss the man on the lips and said the boldest words I had ever said in bed in my life. "You'd better be a bit more vigorous because he's next door." He complied with my request. That night, I felt like my body was falling apart. The next morning, Ethan was smoking a post-coital cigarette. I wore that chamisole and completed the interview in the hotel, then sorted it out and sent it to the editor-in-chief. Even though I had been a housewife for many years, my workability was still there. As I wished, I received the notice to go to work. But before leaving the hotel, I went to the front desk and applied for the surveillance video on the pretext of losing something. The surveillance time reached 11 o'clock. The figures of the two scumbags walked into the room together from the elevator. 20 minutes later, my figure also appeared on the surveillance video. "Madam, it seems you didn't bring a bag when you came. Perhaps I left it in the car." "Thank you." I sent the photos I just got to Emma to facilitate the collection of evidence and then left the hotel. Not only Emma, but also Liam received the photos. He was in a panic. He couldn't trace the sender's email address, nor could he find the location. When he rushed home, I was sitting on the bed with tears streaming down my face, looking incredulous, and the coffee table was full of photos of him from the surveillance video. Liam knelt in front of me. That kind of statement that she seduced me was something I had only seen on TV before. I didn't expect to see a real-life version today. I was crying like a pear blossom in the rain, like the heroine in a drama, asking him over and over again why he had treated me like this. There was no real emotion, all relying on my acting skills. Liam also felt more and more sorry for me in the face of my tears. He said that he went there last night just to break up with that woman and even promised me that he would cut off contact with her. Of course, I didn't believe him and sneered. Since when does breaking up with someone require going through the procedure of having one last fling? Liam was left speechless and just kept begging me, even trying to drag me onto the bed. I slapped him twice symmetrically on both sides, but I still wasn't satisfied. He accepted it in silence. I asked him when he had started having second thoughts. He said that he had done this stupid thing after having an argument with me last month. He still wasn't telling the truth and even wanted to split the blame 50-50 with me. Fortunately, I no longer felt heartbroken. I just silently packed my luggage and gave him an ultimatum. "Meet me at the Civil Affairs Bureau." Liam held on to me tightly. "Honey, I'm begging you, it's my fault, all my fault. Please don't divorce me. I'll give you anything you want." This was exactly what I had been waiting for. Immediately, I took out the contract drafted by Emma. It clearly stated word by word that the cars and houses under his name would be transferred to my name, along with the money in his bank cards. Liam signed it without hesitation, and there was an extra $1 million in my bank card. I was even surprised. Was I really that important to him? So important that he was willing to give up everything to keep me? It wasn't until he humbly asked me to accompany him to the company's commendation ceremony that I realized he just wanted me to act with him. This was an important moment for him to get a promotion, a salary increase, and be listed as the best employee. With this honor, it would be a piece of cake for him to be promoted to general manager next year. I agreed because this drama wasn't over yet. Divorce wasn't the heaviest punishment. I still had a trump card up my sleeve, that was Leo. And I thank you for giving me a better stage to play on. After handling everything, Liam started to wonder why there were these photos. He was a suspicious person by nature, and I deliberately asked him to take me to the yoga studio. Finally, the three of them had an awkward encounter at the entrance of the yoga studio. I didn't say a word. I just looked at the two of them in shock. Liam suddenly realized something and slapped his forehead. He walked up to Olivia and slapped her. "It's you. You deliberately lured me to the hotel, and then sent these photos to my wife." Olivia didn't expect that the man who had called her baby in bed last night would slap her now. Tears immediately fell from her eyes. But what kind of creatures are men? They dot on you. A single tear from you can make them buy you a bag or transfer money to you. When they don't dot on you, it's useless even if you cry your eyes out. Olivia explained over and over again, but Liam was convinced of this fact. Because in his eyes, I, who had accepted the relative's child and was willing to forgive him, was a gentle angel. But in my eyes they were just a pile of crap. I sat in the car the whole time without saying a word. I even closed the window, but from the way Olivia was crying bitterly, I knew that Liam must have said something decisive. Olivia suddenly wiped away her tears and rushed towards me like a madwoman. I knew she must have wanted to say something to me, for example, that Leo was actually her child. However, Liam dragged her to one side and she quieted down. What was said was only known to the two of them. Even when the car was driving towards the traffic lights, I could still see Olivia sitting on the ground from the rearview mirror. She no longer looked beautiful, she seemed withered. But I'm not a saint. I won't sympathize with her. Just rest assured, I don't want this man, Olivia. I'll reunite your family of three. After realizing that she had been set up by me, Olivia bombarded me with text messages and phone calls, but I blocked her on all fronts. Even though she was blocked, she still cursed like a madwoman. Occasionally, when I had nothing to do, I would unblock her to take a look. She would seize the opportunity and start ranting at me like a lunatic. However, the more she cursed, the more excited I became. After I exposed Liam's affair, he became much more subdued. He came home on time every day, and I finally had a few leisurely days in Liam's family. At least I could finally sleep until noon on weekends. Liam wanted to get intimate with me, but I refused on the pretext of working overtime. I hid in the study to write my manuscripts. My father-in-law and mother-in-law didn't dare to provoke me anymore either. I became the national treasure of the family, but I knew it was all fake. In the past 2 days, Ethan had also looked for me, but I refused. I won't touch men anymore, no matter how handsome they are. No way. Soon, the day arrived when I had promised to accompany Liam to the company's commendation ceremony. Liam even spent a lot of money to hire a designer to get me all dressed up from head to toe. I knew he was afraid that I would embarrass him, but he forgot that I had met him in the protocol department back then. I was good at these superficial things. I even took the initiative to suggest taking Leo with us. Before getting out of the car, I asked to take a group photo. Liam was flattered and cooperated extremely well. But what he didn't know was that I immediately unblocked Olivia right after that. I didn't add any captions, just sent a picture with the location attached, and set it to be visible only to her. Leo saw the caption and asked me what a mistress was. I said it's who meddles in other people's families. Was the first time I had sworn in front of a child. I thought this would also be an unforgettable day for Liam. Liam was widely recognized as a good employee at work and a much-praised husband. As soon as I walked in with him, the compliments about him came pouring in. I responded in silence with a polite smile on my lips. They all thought my silence was acquiescence, but it wasn't. I was silent because I was afraid I would vomit if I opened my mouth. Olivia arrived faster than I expected. When Liam went on stage to receive the award, give his acceptance speech and thank me, she showed up. You see, it's better to arrive at the right moment than early. Olivia's lines were fast and harsh, and the screen behind her was already playing the evidence I had collected. Although Liam had already called the security guards over, she still blurted out everything, including when Liam had hooked up with her, when they had a child out of wedlock, and the things Liam had said in bed about how she was better than his wife. She performed even more perfectly than I had imagined. If I weren't the protagonist, I really would have applauded her. I calmly sat in my seat, accepting the sympathetic looks from everyone. Liam shouted angrily, "You're a mad woman. This person is crazy. Drag her out." But what Liam didn't expect was that Leo rushed over to protect Olivia. "Don't touch my mom." What a scene of a loving mother and a filial son. I was almost moved to tears. There was an uproar at the scene. The looks they gave me were a mixture of sympathy and shock. Maybe they were shocked that the child brought by our couple was actually the child of the mistress, or maybe they were shocked that I could accept the child born by my husband with someone else. My acting skills were on point again. I slapped Liam, tears streaming down my face. "You lied to me that he was a relative's child." Now everyone present knew that I had been kept in the dark and that I was the victim. Everyone who was there had a family. Those legitimate wives couldn't stand such things. Most everyone was angrily accusing Olivia of being a mistress, and also criticizing Liam for being a scumbag. The leader who had been promoting him left in a huff and even splashed a glass of red wine on his face. Liam was extremely embarrassed, his eyes dull, mumbling, "It's all over, it's all over." I knew that what he meant by "it's all over" wasn't about the marriage but about his hard-earned career. It was all ruined. At this moment, Leo, who heard the term mistress for the second time, slowly looked up, his eyes showing disgust and confusion. But the question he asked was really heart-wrenching. "Mom, are you the underserver who destroys other people's families?" I knew Leo had a good memory, but I didn't know it was so good that he could repeat it word for word. Olivia, who was already on the verge of a mental breakdown from enduring everyone's abuse, was now stabbed in the heart by her own son's innocent words. She didn't expect that the child she had carried for 10 months would now stand against her. Just like I never expected that in my past life I had already treated my husband's illegitimate child as my own. Why did I end up being branded as a cruel woman just because a chili pepper made him allergic and finally be abandoned? She hit Leo like a mad woman. It was I who stepped forward and pulled Leo into my arms. Leo cried bitterly in my arms and even cursed her in front of everyone. "You're a mistress. I don't want you to be my mom anymore." Looking at Olivia's pale face, I seemed to see myself in my past life. The sense of revenge filled my whole body. I returned to Liam's family alone. This time I didn't wait. I slammed a divorce agreement on the table and signed my name in a dashing manner. Liam refused to divorce because he had nothing left to keep me. He even knelt in front of me and slapped himself 20 times. I enjoyed the sight before leaving. Liam was still unyielding and kept pinging me without saying a word. I sued him in court. He had no chance of winning. After all, hundreds of pairs of eyes had witnessed that embarrassing scene, and even videos had leaked out. In this lawsuit, he ended up leaving the house with nothing. He even had to borrow money to pay for the lawyer. On the day I walked out of the court, my mother-in-law chased after me, yelling all kinds of ugly words at me, but I didn't care because I was free. That night, I flew directly to the exhibition in Shanghai with my best friend. The male models here were tall and muscular with 8-pack abs. They sweetly called us big sisters one by one, which really made me overjoyed. I still hadn't deleted Liam's WeChat. Maybe because he was provoked, he started scolding me. I wasn't angry at all. In fact, before deleting him, I even took a 15-second video of a male model doing a striptease and sent it to him for his enjoyment. After all, it was his money that was being spent. I just love sharing things. If I could share my husband, what's a video? After the divorce, I lived a very free life. Men were just a boring pastime for me. Liam was still begging me all the time. Messages of confession and concern kept coming in, but I never replied to him. Cold violence is the most effective way to drive someone crazy. So in the messages he sent, one line might say, "I love you," and the next could be I even suspected that he might be schizophrenic. Even though I blocked one number, he would just switch to another one. I wasn't in the mood to pay attention to him because the first manuscript I wrote after returning to the workplace was published in the magazine. Liam was also keeping an eye on it, and the more he read, the more he felt that something was wrong because the story in this article was written based on my own experience. It described how the female protagonist laid out her plans after finding out that her husband was cheating, and gradually took everything away from him. The day I saw Liam, he looked haggard with a full beard growth, and he no longer had the appearance of the talented man he used to be. He asked, "Is it all true?" I gave an evasive answer. "What do you mean by true? Up to now, I don't even know what's true. My 5 years of wonderful marriage was a lie. All my years of dedication and trust, lies. You ask me what's true? The fact that I hate you is true." Liam looked up, his eyes bloodshot, and he no longer had his former high spirits. "Is it true that you slept with someone else to get revenge on me?" I laughed. Sure enough, this was what he cared about. I sipped my coffee leisurely and said, "Of course it's true." Liam was furious and even smashed the cup on the ground. "Who was it? Who was that man? I'll kill him." Watching his anger and unwillingness, I felt even more exhilarated. I smiled and gave a hint. "You know this man?" Liam's eyes widened in disbelief. "Was it Ethan?" I smiled faintly. "Yes, I had a great time that night. His skills were much better than yours." It was a comfort I hadn't experienced in my 5 years of marriage. Liam was shaking with anger, his face twitching, but that wasn't enough. I continued to add fuel to the fire. "By the way, did you know I was right next door to you that night? Didn't you hear anything? I was the one who sent the photos. Poor Olivia, she had to take the blame for me next door." The memories of that night flooded into Liam's mind. So it was them next door, and that night he was even teasing Olivia. "The chick next door has such a nice voice. You'd better outdo her." The truth was always cruel. Liam couldn't stop trembling all over, overwhelmed by anger. He blacked out and fumbled. The doctor said Liam had a stroke. To be precise, he had a stroke because of my provocation. He was lying in bed with a crooked mouth, unable to say a complete sentence, but from his eyes I could tell that he was cursing me. But I didn't care. Even if he died, I wouldn't care. I walked out of the hospital and stood in the sunlight. For the first time, I felt that I was truly alive. After today, I would be a brand new Sophia.